Okay, so mostly I'm gonna let oh, there we go. I'm gonna let Stephanie go where she wants to go with this, but I thought about it because we'd been discussing a lot of things, but um she had been talking about how she was working to get caps at the temple, the St. Louis temple, right, Stephanie? I'm assuming because that's where you're at. Yeah,
Correct.
but get caps, like hair caps for women to use during baptisms for the dead at the temple. So she was kind of talking about, why she was doing that and, kind of some of the difficulties with trying to do that, and just kind of talked a lot about black hair and why that is something that is why it would even be talked about as it may pertain to the temple and baptisms. So, anyways, I thought it would be great to discuss that because on the other side of it, I had just watched a podcast from, actually, it was Gathering of Tribes, I think, that Cindy had done. She didn't do it, but they had somebody on who, a Native American who was wanting to keep his hair long when he was called on a mission because there was cultural significance. I didn't listen to the whole thing, but there was some cultural significance to that and importance for him to be able to do that. So anyway, so there is some, and I've heard various little talks, discussions around hairstyles and how they're very uniform and have been asked to be very uniform in the church for the most part. And so thought this would be just a good discussion to have and kind of culturally significant, I think, as it pertains, especially temple worship. Um, but you'll see it in lots of different places. So do you want to just go, Stephanie? Do you want me to say anything else?
Yeah, I'll probably start a little bit of history and
Yeah.
then discuss really the along throughout the whole thing, the significance of head covering. But recently looking this up, because you stated, I forget what tribe you said their hair had spiritual significance. Well, that's the same for Africans. In 2015, BBC did publish a report about how Black hair reflects in history. And the thing is that Africans back, in Africa, the different countries, you could tell what tribe they belonged to because of their hairstyle. So it was significant in identifying who they were and where they came from, and it was also a spiritual thing. Um, Recently, I was talking to one of the leadership. I won't say who and what department, but she. Okay, so there's many departments with women. She said, I had no idea that black hair is totally different. And I'm like, hmm, why wouldn't she know that? You know, can't she see that? The men's hair, definitely, I can see women, but definitely can't you see that our hair is different? And so that I go, yeah, you're right, and it is different. I mean, she had straight, shiny hair that you can wet and dry with a blow dryer. Our hair, and not all, but for the most part, is coarse, is thick, it's curly. Okay. You get it wet, it's not a good thing. Okay. I have my hair, which is locks right now, because I'm kind of a mix. I have different grades of hair in my head. Okay. Uh, because of this this coarseness of hair, the thing is that our hair requires more oil because it will dry out faster, which is why we, they say we don't swim. It's not that we don't swim. Water is our enemy. Water dries it out. Okay. Uh, chlorine Chlorine strips it of all its natural oil and nutrients. it becomes dry, brittle. Okay. Um, and this is something we deal with. Uh, to get my hair done, or for a female, a Black female, to get her hair done will cost anywhere from, if you know somebody in the hood, from 150 almost to $500, okay, to get your hair done. Okay, the cheapest one would be cost 150. My hair, which is locks, okay, which is the lowest maintenance one. I can get this wet and I don't have to worry about it frizzing out, okay? I don't have to worry about trying to straighten it and then curl it and do all these other things. I mean, it can cost anywhere starting 150 to $300. Okay, because now they charge you to wash your hair. If I want it up in a style like that, that's an extra $25. Everything they do, they charge more. Imagine going to the beautician and she says it's going to cost an extra $75 to wash your hair. That's where we are right now. Um, I'm going through this too fast, but and the thing is, because of our society, back when slavery was done away, okay, having natural hair, I mean, we just put it on the scarf. Or if back in the day, I'm sure you heard the stories in slavery, they used to use braiding their hairs, right? They used it as a roadmap to escape to freedom.
Wow.
Okay. So they would braid, a pattern in their head that had significance. Once slavery was done away, um, we were kind of forced into finding ways to assimilate, to look like the best we can, and to, what's the word I want to say? To, to be part of the norm. So straightening our hair became a thing, okay? Straighten our hair. And I think the first way we tried to do it is have a hot comb with grease, okay? Horrible, okay? I mean, you put this iron comb into a fire, you put grease on, and you're basically frying your hair straight. You get, you're always getting burnt on the ears, burnt on the scalp. This is what we had to do, okay? And we did this because people of non-colored said, oh, your hair is nappy, you're dirty, it's unkept, and it's just like, but it's our hair, you know. I mean, we could make it presentable in different ways, but it's never, naturally, it's not going to be straight. So we would put ourselves through this to do this. Once you get pressing curls, okay, we call it press. To press your hair, that's a straight iron. The minute you sweat or get into the water, your hair is going to freeze up again. Freeze up. Okay. Now it might take you an hour, and if you're a child, an hour and a half to get that hair straightened. Okay. And it is traumatic. It is traumatic because you're going to get burnt. Okay. And unless you go to a good professional and you can afford to have a beautician to do it. But if your mama did it, you're going to get burnt. Okay. We progressed to where now we don't have to sit under there. They came up with perms, which is a lye solution. And I don't know, Marianne and Carolyn, because Blacks are trying to fit into the mainstream and be acceptable. I don't know if you remember, but many Black singers would get their hair straightened.
Diana
So it would
Ross.
they would be, uh, acceptable. Nat King Cole, uh, Sam Cooke. I mean, you wouldn't know this person, Austin. You're just way too young. Okay.
Mm.
Ella Fitzgerald. Okay. The Supremes.
Yeah.
Oh, the King of Soul, James Brown. Remember?
Mhm.
Okay. And
Right.
remember how much he sweat? Trust
Yeah.
me, if he did not have a perm, the, it would have been all over with. Okay. Marvin Gaye, Nina Simone, Black civil rights. Okay. They all this, Diana Ross. So they would all get their hairs perm. Here's the thing, this lye that they use to straighten their hair, these chemicals, first of all, they were worse than doing a press and curl. You could do a permanent and, last a month or two, okay, but you had to redo it, okay. But that those chemicals could, if you left it on too long, I know you women back in the day, you used to get your hair perm to make it curly.
Hmm.
We got a perm to make ours straight, okay. And putting on that perm, it smelled, didn't it? You left it on too long, you got burnt, and chemical burns, and our hair is thick, so we have to leave it on a long time to get it straightened. You got to work through it. Well, not only did you get chemical burns, you might have went bald from it. And just recently they knew it. And you know what, i I'm a health professional, and I never put two to two together. These chemicals that we were putting in our hair can cause cancer and has caused many uterine cancers. Okay. I, like I said, I'm a health professional. My whole life long, I had problems from the age of 18 on. I've been getting my hair perm and since I was a teenager. Well, actually, since I was 8 years old. Okay. And I've always had female problems, fibroids, uh, bad test, okay, resulting in a hysterectomy. Every 5 to 7 years, like clockwork, a tumor would pop up, okay? And it took me a while to figure out, oh, yeah, I used to get my hair perm, okay? I've been wearing locks since 2008. And I think, yeah, that was my last tumor. And I haven't had one since because I have to do this. Wearing natural hair for Blacks is just, even today, is not acceptable. I have there's a term, and my cousin is a paralegal. She goes, oh, I have to go get my corporate hair. Corporate hair means that a Black woman has to have straight hair. It can be curl, but it can't be quote, quote, nappy. Okay. Therefore, she's either going to have to get it permed or she's going to get the other thing, which is called a weave. And even people, women of non-color do weaves. But when we first started getting weaves, it was commonplace to get it glued in. Imagine trying to take that out. Okay. So that means you got hair loss too and hair damage. Okay. Um, all the things that we have to do to our hair is damaging to our hair. And it would be great if we can go natural. Okay. Whether it's natural or not, It has to be kept up. It costs a lot. And chemicals, period, is bad for us, be it chlorine or bromide, which is in the baptistry water, okay, repeated use, okay, or just natural American water, which is supposedly clean. So, it's a financial hardship if, as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they want you to go on a regular basis to do baptistry, okay? Because of the products that we have in our hair, and because like we might have our own hair or whatnot, it could be totally devastating and embarrassing because of the products we have to put in our hair because we need oil. Okay. You can get a low density oil, something, but to see an oil slick in the baptistry pool is embarrassing. To have your weave come out and be floating on the baptistry, highly embarrassing. Okay. Um, it's going to be embarrassing too if you can't afford perms or stuff like that, but you straight combed your hair, you got in the pool, and it's just like, well, why is your hair all kinky like that now? You know? So these things deter Black women on a regular basis going. I know that for a fact there are some women who just don't do it. Other women will at least say, well, once a month I'm going to get my hair done. Now remember, it costs anywhere from $150 to $500. And it's just like they have to plan when they can do baptisms. Um, I really push for swim caps in the temple because, first of all, it's an easy fix. Allow us to cover our hair. It's easy fix. Okay. Somebody once said, well, it's just a shame that they won't be able to do baptism. Why should we be denied blessings of serving in the temple when the easy fix is a swim cap? So I have been fortunate enough to have the ear to a few people who happen to work with a few young Black women, young girls in our stake, and they kind of know of the issue, but nobody wants to talk about it. It's just like, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to make a big deal. We don't want to put you out. But it is a big deal, you know? It is a big deal. And so I'm like, hey, and somebody talked to the temple matron, and she was agreeable. It's just like, yeah, we can do this. Um, so right now we're able to supply the women white caps, and we're able to use it. But I think that it should be uniform. Okay. What's a white cap? We don't have to buy the most expensive one. It's just like what are temple dresses. Are we wearing the Cadillac dress when we go in and rent our dresses? No, you're wearing the most economical one. And it's just like with these swim caps, it's just like you can buy $14, $15 caps. It should be silicone because people have latex allergies. And not only for women of color, but for women in general. Because you guys, you get your hair dyed, and the baptism water for people, women who have their hair dyed, or even men. But I'm sure the men won't be wearing the swim caps. But for the women, it costs a lot to maintain us when it comes to our hair. So it's just, to me, And it would be no problem if, you know, we could wear our natural hair, you know, and it was part of society. But right now we have to overcome it. There are certain jobs where they will tell you, "Oh, your hair looks too ethnic. You can't wear that." I just happen to be fortunate to be in the healthcare profession. Okay. As a nurse, I'm running down the hall and it's like, "Hey, this is what you got. Let me go save lives." So, but to be in a quote, quote, business, professional area, no, no, you have to have what they call the corporate hair. And when my cousin mentioned that, I start to look at female newscasters and start to notice their hair. Okay. Every once in a while, somebody can wear a braid. But ain't nobody gonna be wearing a fro or little knots on their head. I have not seen anybody with locks. Okay. They have to have the corporate hair. And I feel that's just bad. So back to the hair relaxer. In 2021, they did a survey and it was Boston. They found that 30% of Black women were at risk. 30%. That's a high percentage of women who were going to get uterine cancer. And right now, as of 2025, you can go online. And if you use L'Oreal or Revlon products, you can be part of a class action suit. Okay. I don't know if, Rachel, if you notice this, how many Black women come up with fibroid tumors?
I don't know, and that would be really interesting to look at. I do know from a maternal perspective, there's a lot of the complications, at least in birth, which I don't know if it has to do with cancer, obviously, but there is higher complications. And I have often
Mm-hmm.
wondered those kinds of cultural implications. Often we used to point it to, oh, it's because there's the Black genes, right? Like it's in their genes to,
Mm-hmm.
like they're just going to be like that. But more and more as we've kind of studied these things, that's where we are kind of leaning away from those and more towards the kinds of things that you're talking about right there, that there are cultural implications to what it means to be Black that create healthcare problems. And it has not necessarily nothing to do with genes, because we do have genes that are a part of that, but it has more to do with these cultural implications that are creating the health disparities. So I wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
shocked to know
Yeah.
or think that was absolutely an issue.
Yeah. It is a thing, and I've noticed like most of my Black female friends who have used perms and whatnot, they do have. It's like, oh, I got more fibroids and this and that, and now as these studies are coming out, and it's just like it's related to the treatment of straightening their hair with relaxers. So. Um, but the biggest thing that I wanted to bring about is that it takes a lot to maintain our hair. Chemicals, period, um, or repeated exposure to water. Okay, probably shouldn't say this, but Black people do not wash their hair every day because they will lose too much oil. Okay, they just will. I remember when I was little, there was this product called VO5. Anybody remember VO5? Okay. And I was just amazed. I asked my granny, I go, well, why do they need grease for their hair? It's already shiny. And so, and for us, it's like almost a daily, if not 3 times a week thing that we must put oil in our hair so it won't be dry, brittle, and break off. Okay. Um, my hair looks pretty long. You know why it looks this long? I've cut it 6 times since 2008 because I don't put any chemicals on it. I don't have to I don't have to comb it. Before, when all those things that I was doing, I mean, I would have to wear a pixie because my hair would break off that much trying to get it to grow. Okay. I didn't have the good genes. There are some women, Black women, that have that really thick hair and it flows down. Okay. And they don't even need a weave. Okay. I didn't have that kind of hair. Okay. No. No. So, is there any questions people have for me? Go ahead, Karen.
I have one. So, do you have to go and have somebody who kind of specializes in black hair?
Yes.
And you go, yeah.
As a matter of fact, yeah, yeah. I mean, how you treat black hair and how you treat white hair is totally different. When I started my locks, because I have like straight but not kinky but not straight, some would consider mine is like a half breed, when you have interracial hair. Um, the girl who did my hair, she was so good at it. She goes, I do white people's hair to lock it. So she was really good at it. Okay. Just recently, I went to one of the wards to talk about the committee I'm on. And one woman said that her son did, and she is of non color, her son did a mission in one of the African countries, and he's white, of course. Um, it took them like several hours to figure out how to cut his hair because they never dealt with his hair before. Okay. So there is a difference. There's different products you use, except for the VO5, which everybody used. There's different products you use, and the daily maintenance is just different. Okay. The daily maintenance is different. And, it's really kind of hard too when you have a child of an interracial marriage because they have these kids that have hair that, you know, is kinky, but it's straight too. It's fine. You know what I'm saying? And so you have to learn how to deal with that. But as I'm just like, just blow dry it, baby. Okay. And don't let them go in the water. Okay. you know, and there's even different textures with not people of non-color. I mean, how many of you seen like redheaded, pale white guys, and it's coarse and it's thick, and you dump them in the water and they become a big frizz ball, it's you have to, yeah, you have to go to a certain beautician, you know. It's just, it's different. It is easier, really, in America for a Black woman to do a white person's hair because 9 times out of 10, when they went to to beauty school, they practice on straight hair. They learn white hair, how to do white hair first. You know what I'm saying? But if it's the other way around, they don't learn how to do black hair. You know, they have to be instructed by someone who's willing to teach them. So, yeah, you know, if I go into great clips and, you know, my hair is all, they're not, unless they have a black beautician, she wouldn't know the first thing of taking care of it. And even with black beauticians, like there's like a loctician. A loctician is what I should go to. That's somebody who specializes in locks, okay? Because there's a whole chemistry and the stuff to it. You know, you can wash your hair, but if you don't get all, it's like shampooing your hair, you know, you don't get all that out, it's going to be locked in there with the rest of the stuff. So there's an art to it. And it takes hours. I think I'm going to tell you this, the less time it takes to do your hair, the quicker it is easier for it to go curly again. Okay. If you get braids, okay, braids, you can swim, you can do this and that. That, if you get it to your head, which is cornrows, right? Okay, maybe 2-3 hours. If you get the single braids, that's an 8-hour day. But you can swim in that. You can, you know, curl it up a certain way and whatnot, but that's 8 hours. And imagine you have to pay somebody 8 hours to braid your hair. Have you ever taken your hair down for braids? It's going to take you twice as long to take the braids down if you have single braids, you know, a bunch of them, you know. So the longer it takes, then 9 times out of 10, you can get your hair wet, but it's labor intensive and it's very expensive. Okay. I think pressing a curl where you get burned with the hot comb, that's probably the cheapest. Okay. A permanent, you can swim in it, but it's kind of really depending on how much you sweat or in the water. A good perma might last you like 6 weeks at the most. So every 6 weeks. And normally with a perm, you got to go every 2 weeks to get it washed and styled and whatnot. So, any other questions? Go ahead, Marion.
I'm curious in your discussions with your inside people for baptisms, what do you see the solution is? You mentioned these caps. Is that difficult to put a cap on? And is there any, with your kind of hair, and is there any back argument about that being an issue for baptisms? Is that appropriate wear for a baptism?
We have gotten clearance in the St. Louis Temple that it's okay to wear the swim caps as long as they're white. Now, for any hair, putting on a swim cap, it just doesn't slide on.
No, it does not. It's hard for me. That's why I'm wondering about you.
So I think the biggest issue is getting the appropriate size cap and that it's truly waterproof. Okay. Like with me, you can't get a standard small swim cap. They do have large and extra large, and they don't even have medium anymore. and they just have children's, which is the small. But for somebody with locks, they're going to have to get an extra large cap. And you just going to have to make sure it fits well. There is, like I said, you can get little cheap ones. I think some people are just wearing like shower caps, but I'm just like, how is that working? Because you're immersed. Wearing a shower cap is not the same as wearing a swim cap.
Oh, it'll come off.
It's just not. And I'm just like, well, so, yeah. So the biggest thing is to keep it, find a cap that's big enough and that will keep out the water. Um, Amazon has a couple of them. Like I said, the Cadillac of the swim caps for black is called Hair Brella, and it has a satin lining and everything, but that costs $44. Okay. So that's something like, we're not going to supply the Cadillac. If you want the Cadillac, you will have to get it for your personal use. But these little 12, $15, even $20 caps, I think that the temple should invest in it. How much does the temple dresses cost? Okay. As far as care for it, most of them says soap and water. Okay. Bacterial soap and water is silicone. So you don't have to worry about little eggs or whatever, being caught in there. Simple. If it yellows, dunk it in some OxyClean. Clean it with baking soda and vinegar. Is simple cleaning process. Nothing out of the way. Okay. And like I said, to be denied the ability to perform these ordinances is silly when all you needed was a swim cap. Okay. Cheaper than the temple dresses. Okay.
So I have one question, and then just as we've kind of been talking about this, I've been looking something up that I kind of want to share with you guys. But first I'll tell you what I was looking up, because so the one African American, that I feel like we have in the church right now as a woman leader is Tracy Browning, right? She's in the general primary presidency. So I was, as you were talking about hair and the need to look professional, I was like, I wonder how she does her hair. I don't know that I've ever paid attention. And I don't know if I can show this to you guys, but if you look her up and look at her images, I was really happy to see she's got like a nice professional like braid in the one that's like the official church picture. So it's like, it's kind of like braided around. It's not anything, but she has a few where she's got this nice thick curly hair, and it's short, but it looks like it's probably natural hair for her. And so like it's been in like the church news, and on some YouTube videos where her hair is like this. So I was like, oh cool, because I'm almost thinking, wow, it would be wonderful if we could start being okay with this. That it would be okay for us to see the natural hair. I mean, you don't want it just, yeah, I guess I'm like, that's really cool. So anyways, if you guys look her up, I think there's some pretty cool pictures of her hair. She has a couple different
hairstyles. Is too, she was not born here. So she has learned how to, at least, because I noticed some of her hair is like, I could do mine and pull it up, like this. And then it doesn't look like,
that's how she does something like that. It looks like she's got like a little braid. But then there's other where it truly is sort of like it looks like it's just the thick curly hair that it is short. So it's not like, so it is short. You can tell, but still, it definitely looks like the natural. Maybe not, because I don't know what it would look. I don't know what she does even to get it to look like that, right? I have no clue. But it looks like she keeps that thick, curly, natural hair. So it's kind of cool. But the question I have just behind that, or just it has nothing to do with her, but is for you is if we wanted to, try and make and help, promote like our temple, our areas to be able to provide these things. What what would you suggest we do? Like, how would we go about doing this? Like, what information do we give? Who do we talk to? What does that look like? And yeah, what would we be able to do where we're at?
Well, this is the way I would go about it. First of all, if it's an older woman, she's probably not going to baptistry a lot, but young men and young women go to baptistry. If you have like a ward that have a couple or several children of color, even if they're mixed, say, hey, do you think it's beneficial that you have hair covering? And see, because they might not be going to baptistry because they don't want to bring it up. They don't want to seem different. Okay. And it's just like, but it's a concern. And it's just like, if we gave you this head covering, would you be willing to go? So that's where I would start.
Yeah, I was actually particularly wondering about the youth because I mean, of course, older adults care too, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, I wonder what it would be like if they, as part of the whole process, if everybody were offered a cap.
Yes.
And then the young women who, I mean, it would kind of normalize it. Like, and there are probably many white young women who would not want their hair to get wet.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I brought up to the temple matron, because she actually bought us some caps. And I said, I thank you for, doing this and recognizing the need for it. And I said, but the need is for all women.
Mm-hmm.
For all women, because chlorine is not our friend, no matter how low the level is, So, yeah, I think that it should, the big issue is for Black hair, but the broader issue is for all women, for all
So
women.
can I